So I'm going to be using this type of image for my inspiration for my natural form, strong natural form in the landscape. This is a John Nash image. It's a painting, but I'm going to convert this into a charcoal drawing, and I'm using a photograph that I took on the holiday in Yorkshire as my version of it. So I'm going to do a stylised drawing first. So the first thing I'm going to do is create some of the background with the softer willow charcoal. So it doesn't really matter then if it pushes over into the main subject, because I'll be dealing with that afterwards. So I'm going to try and create areas of texture, different types of texture or tone to represent what's going on in the environment here. So you've got smaller mark making further away you're going from your point of vision. This here appears to be heather, so I'm going to make sure I've got lots of marks uprights. And then what I'm going to do is get my brush and then soften that up so you can still see the marks, and then work into it a little bit more as I go along. So I'm identifying different areas to represent in different ways. And then my strongest feature is going to be my tree. It's going to be really black, but it will have a roundness to it, which we'll use with the soft charcoal technique or the brush technique. So this is the heather. And then you've got some grass. Little sections of grass. I want to try and fill all of this. So here we've got some further away grasses. So I need a big smudging technique here. Trying to create some roundness, like the Nash pictures, exaggerate that shape of the hillside. And this is a gravel path, so I need to try and create, there's lots of shadows and lumps and bumps going on here. Don't want to make it too sharp. And I'd like it to fade away in the distance, smaller marks. It's quite light, it's the lightest part of the picture, so I don't want to overwork that, but the putty rubber is handy to take anything away where you've gone a little bit strong. Not sure how to deal with the sky at this moment. Perhaps a suggestion. Rising up from the horizon line and then softening out, so I'll need my big brush for that. Another thing you can do is create like a little pile of charcoal somewhere, and then use your brush to apply it. So that can work depending on what you want to do. lightening it to the top. So just feeling my way really with it and see how sort of feel I'm getting. To create a little bit of drama. Not quite as, it's a little bit more dramatic than the actual photograph. To create that interest with the style that I'm using. So I'm just going to keep on going, looking at different texture in different areas, and then when I've covered the whole backdrop here, then I'm going to be dealing with the tree and make it look really spiky and dramatic. So this is how far I've got with the stylized natural form in a landscape. I've put some charcoal quite roughly onto my branch shapes with using this willow charcoal. So I've used it quite broadly, and then I'm defining the shapes first of all. I'm not worrying too much about detail at this moment in time, because what I'm going to do is take some of the highlights away afterwards. So I'm looking at the dark areas, the darkest of the areas on the wood here, and I'm going to try and put the darkest bits in, and then I'm going to erase these areas of light afterwards. Remembering it is quite a stylized image, so you don't have to be absolutely perfect. It's more the feeling of it that we want. So I'm putting some real darks in here. Sorry about the background noise. Doesn't seem to be any way of getting quiet around this place at the minute. Everybody's doing DIY in the garden. So I've got my dark in here. I can rub that in either with my finger, or I could use a brush just to blend that in a little bit. So just to soften it if I want to. I'm going to tip all the charcoal off at the end. And I've got myself a eraser pencil. Actually, that's not the eraser pencil. This is the eraser pencil. And I'm going to take out some of these light sections. And it's like drawing with white, but I'm actually taking out the charcoal. So I think this is some kind of birch. So you've got these real light patches here. So work your way across your image, identifying all the lightest and darkest of the areas. But this eraser pencil is particularly useful for some quite sharp texture there. I'm also going to use a soft charcoal pencil. So we've got this edge here and I feel like it needs a little bit more clarity. I can just go in and darken that, make that even darker. So I'm put texture in as I go. And some of these textured lines I'm going to hope to keep, and others I can blend away where I feel that it's too strong. So blending with the brush to soften it, and then leave the areas that I like for texture. So when I finish, I just tap it away, trying to blow it all over the place. And you can see the image just building up its depth. So using a variety of things. So I've got the soft pencil, the eraser pencil, soft charcoal pencil, the eraser pencil, and I've got my willow charcoal, which is both thick and thin, as here. I've also got my putty rubber to take off or to tidy up areas. So if I'm dealing with a path here, there's some light along the top edge here basically, and the rest is quite grey. So I can blend some charcoal in quite roughly with my finger first, or a brush, and then take out those lightest pieces of putty rubber. So that's the top edge here that's quite light. Can also bring some of the shadow across here onto that path, shadow that's coming from this tree. So work your way through, remembering to define areas by texture against texture, light against dark.